The lights were too bright, squinted against the harsh white glare that filled the massive hall. Around him, hundreds of beings from across the galaxy moved through the marketplace. Some walked on two legs like him. Others floated, crawled, or moved in ways he could not understand. The air smelled strange, like metal and something sweet that made his stomach turn. He stood on a raised platform with 12 other humans. They were all from his transport ship, all captured when raiders attacked 3 weeks ago. The metal collar around his neck felt heavy. It marked him as property, something to be sold. His hands were bound in front of him with energy cuffs that hummed softly. A tall alien with green skin and too many eyes called out prices in a language did not know, but the translator chip in his ear turned the words into something he could understand. Young human male, healthy, educated in engineering. Bidding starts at 5,000 credits. His heart pounded. He looked out at the crowd. Most aliens barely glanced at him. Humans were new to this part of space. Most species thought they were weak and boring. Good for simple labor, maybe, nothing special. The bidding was slow. A few raised their hands. The price climbed to 7,000, then 8. Tried not to think about what would happen to him. Would he work in mines, on a farm, or something worse? Then he saw her. She stood at the back of the crowd, taller than everyone around her. She had to be 7 feet tall, maybe more. Her skin looked like crystal, smooth and reflecting the light in shades of blue and silver. She wore a military uniform, dark and formal, with medals on her chest. Her eyes were sharp and focused directly on him. She raised her hand. 20,000 credits, the translator said in his ear. The crowd went silent. Even the auctioneer paused. That was more than double the current bid. Whispers filled the hall, stared at her, confused and frightened. 20,000 credits from Commander of the Empire, the auctioneer announced. Any other bids? No one else moved. Who could compete with that price? The auctioneer called out 2 more times, then brought his hammer down. Sold. Guards led off the platform. His legs felt weak. He stumbled, but a guard caught him roughly and pushed him forward. They brought him to a small room where the crystal-skinned woman waited. Up close, she was even more intimidating. Her face was angular and beautiful in a way that seemed almost inhuman, because it was. She looked at him with eyes that shifted from blue to purple. "Remove his restraints," she told the guards. They hesitated. "Commander protocol requires." "Remove them," she said again. Her voice was calm but firm. The guards obeyed. The collar and cuffs fell away. Rubbed his wrists, feeling blood flow back into his hands. He wanted to run, but where would he go? This space station was millions of miles from Earth. "My name is," she said. "You are correct." He nodded, not trusting his voice. "You will come with me to my ship. There are things we need to discuss." She turned and walked toward the door. "Follow me." Had no choice. He followed her through the crowded marketplace and down long corridors. Other aliens moved aside when they saw. Some saluted. Others looked away quickly. She carried herself like someone important, someone dangerous. They reached a docking bay where a massive warship waited. It was sleek and dark, covered in armor plating. The name Infinite Dawn was written on the side in glowing letters. Soldiers stood guard at the entrance. They saluted as passed. Inside, the ship was clean and organized. Everything had a purpose. Saw crew members working at stations, all of them the same species as, all tall with crystalline skin that changed colors. They glanced at him with curiosity but said nothing. Led him to a private room. It was large, with a desk, sitting area, and a viewport showing the stars outside. She gestured to a chair. "Sit." Sat. His whole body felt tense. Stood by the viewport looking out at space. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she spoke. "Do you know why I bought you?" "No," said quietly. "In my culture, high-ranking military officers must be bonded. Married, as you humans call it. I was bonded once to a warrior named. He died in battle 2 years ago." Her skin flickered from blue to a sad shade of gray. "Without a new bond, I will lose my rank. I will be reassigned to a ground position, away from my ship and crew." "Tried to understand. So you need a husband." "A legal spouse, yes. The bond does not require love. It is a contract, a formality." She turned to face him. "You will live here on this ship. You will be treated with respect. You will have your own quarters, access to food and medical care. In return, you will stand beside me at official functions. You will fulfill the requirements of the contract." "And if I refuse?" asked, though he knew the answer. "You cannot. You are registered as my property. But I am offering you a better life than you would have had with any other buyer. You will not be a slave here. You will be my contracted partner." Looked down at his hands. He thought about the auction block, about the other humans who were sold to beings who saw them as animals. At least this woman, this, seemed civilized. She spoke to him like a person. "Do I have any choice?" he asked. "Very little," she admitted. "But I am not cruel. I will not harm you. I need you, yes, but I will keep you safe." Something in her voice made him look up. Her eyes had shifted to a softer purple. She looked tired, he realized. Sad even. "Why me?" he asked. "There were others on that platform. Why did you pay so much for me specifically?" Tilted her head slightly. "I read your file before the auction. You are an engineer. You worked on colony ships. You helped build systems that kept thousands of humans alive in deep space. That shows intelligence, skill." She paused. "And when they brought you onto that platform, you did not look down. You did not beg or cry. You looked angry, defiant. I respect that." Felt a strange warmth in his chest. She saw him as more than property. Maybe this would not be so bad. "What happens now?" he asked. "Now you rest. Tomorrow we begin patrol duty. This ship guards the border territories. It can be dangerous, but we have the best crew in the fleet." She moved to the door. "Your quarters are next to mine. If you need anything, ask. You are part of this ship now." She left him alone, sat in the chair, looking out at the stars. Everything had changed in just one day. Yesterday, he was a free human on a transport ship. Today, he was the contracted husband of an alien commander on a warship in deep space. He did not know what the future held, but as he watched the stars drift by, he thought maybe, just maybe, he could survive this. And if he was lucky, he might even find a way to thrive. The door chimed. A crew member entered with clean clothes and food. "Commander said you would need these," the alien said in accented but clear human language. "Thank you," replied. The crew member nodded and left, ate slowly, tasting food that was strange but not unpleasant. Then he found his new quarters. The room was small but comfortable, with a bed, desk, and another viewport. He lay down, exhausted. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight he was safe, and somehow that was enough. 3 weeks passed like a strange dream. Woke each morning in his quarters aboard the Infinite Dawn, still surprised to find himself on an alien warship. The ship moved through space on patrol routes, checking border stations and investigating distress signals. Life fell into a rhythm. Assigned him to the engineering department. The chief engineer, a stern named Minu, was skeptical at first. "A human? What can you possibly know about our systems?" he had asked. But proved himself quickly. The ship's power distribution system had a recurring problem that the crew had worked around for months, studied it for 2 days, then proposed a solution. Instead of fighting the energy fluctuations, he suggested using them. He redesigned the routing protocol to turn the fluctuation into an advantage, making the system more efficient. Minu stared at the results in disbelief. "This should not work, but it does. How did you think of this?" Shrugged. "Sometimes the best solution is not the obvious one. Humans learn to be creative when we do not have the best technology." Word spread through the ship. The human was not useless. He was strange, yes, and his ideas seemed backward at times, but they worked. Crew members started coming to him with problems they could not solve, found he enjoyed the challenge. Noticed, she began visiting the engineering bay more often, watching him work. At first, thought she was checking on him, making sure her investment was worthwhile. But slowly, he realized she was actually interested in what he did. One evening, she invited him to her quarters, went nervously, unsure what she wanted. He found her sitting at her desk, reviewing tactical reports. "Sit," she said, gesturing to the chair across from her. "I want your opinion on something." She showed him a star map. 3 merchant ships had disappeared in a particular sector over the past month. Command thinks it is engine failure or navigational errors, but I am not convinced. Look at the pattern. Studied the map. The disappearances formed a rough triangle, each one near a different asteroid field. "Could be pirates," he said. "They hide in the asteroids, wait for ships to pass, then attack." That was my thought as well, but sensors show no unusual activity in those areas. Maybe they have some way to hide their signatures. Leaned closer, thinking. On Earth, submarines used to hide in thermal layers in the ocean. The temperature difference made them hard to detect. Could asteroids do something similar? Create interference? Skin shifted to a bright, excited yellow. Yes, the mineral composition could disrupt our sensors if they positioned themselves carefully. She pulled up new data, running calculations. You may have just solved a mystery that has troubled us for weeks. Felt a small surge of pride, happy to help. She looked at him with those color-shifting eyes. You see problems differently than we do. It is valuable. After that night, their relationship changed. Sought his counsel more often, not just on technical matters but on tactical decisions. She asked about human psychology, about how his people thought and reacted. Found himself spending more time with her, talking late into the ship's night cycle. They met in the observation deck, a quiet room with a massive viewport. They sat in comfortable chairs, watching stars drift past, and talked about everything. Told him about culture, how her people valued strength and honor above all else, how she had trained since childhood to be a warrior, how she earned her first command at age 25, young for her species. "I was bonded to because our families arranged it," she admitted one night. "It was duty, not love, but over time we became friends, partners when he died." Her skin flickered to that sad gray color. "I felt like I lost part of myself." "I am sorry," said quietly. "Do not be. Death in battle is honorable for my people. He died protecting others. I am proud of him." She paused. "But I am also lonely. Command can be isolating." Understood that. "I was engaged once, to a woman named. We were going to get married after I finished my contract on the colony ship." He smiled sadly. "But the transport was attacked before I could go back to Earth. I do not even know if she knows I am alive." "Do you wish to return to her?" "Thought about it. I do not know. Everything is different now. I am different." He looked at. "My whole life I thought I knew what my future would be. Work, marriage, maybe kids, a normal life on Earth. Now I am on an alien warship, millions of miles from home. It is strange, but I do not hate it. This life is hard and frightening sometimes, but it is also interesting, important. I am doing things that matter." Skin shifted to a warm gold color. "I am glad you feel that way." Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. Learned to read skin colors, understanding her moods without words. Learned human expressions, recognizing when was tired or troubled even when he tried to hide it. The crew noticed. Some approved, seeing that their commander seemed happier. Others whispered that she was going soft, that caring for a human was beneath her. Ignored them all. Then came the day everything changed. The ship's reactor core developed a critical malfunction. Something in the containment field failed, and radiation levels spiked. If it was not fixed within the hour, the reactor would breach and destroy the ship. Minu worked frantically to fix it remotely, but the controls were not responding. "Someone needs to go into the chamber and reset it manually," he said. but the radiation levels are too high. Even in a protective suit, I would last maybe 5 minutes before dying. Skin turned dark red with anger and fear. Is there no other way? None. If we do not fix this, we all die. Stood up, I will go. Everyone turned to stare at him. You will die, Minu said bluntly. Maybe, but humans handle radiation differently than you do. I might last longer, long enough to reset the system. Looked at, it is worth trying. No, said immediately, I will not allow it. Do you have another option? Asked quietly. You said you wanted to keep me safe, but what good is my safety if the whole ship dies? Skin flickered rapidly through colors, red, gray, purple, blue. She was torn between duty and fear. Finally, she spoke. If you do this, you wear the best suit we have, and you move fast, 5 minutes maximum. Nodded, they suited him up quickly. The protective gear was heavy, designed for bodies. He could barely move, but he managed to reach the reactor chamber. Inside, the heat was unbearable. Alarms screamed in his helmet. The radiation counter climbed higher and higher. His hands shook as he worked, following Minu's instructions through the comm system. Bypass the red conduit, Minu said. Reroute power to the secondary system. His vision blurred. His body felt heavy, but he kept working. 3 minutes, 4. He could hear his voice now, urgent and afraid. Get out, leave it, please. Almost done, he gasped. His fingers found the final connection. He forced the coupling into place. The reactor hummed, then stabilized. The alarm stopped. It is working, Minu announced. Radiation levels dropping, the field is holding. Tried to walk back, but his legs gave out. He fell to his knees. The world spun. The next thing he knew, he was in the medical bay. Sat beside his bed, her skin a pale, frightened blue. When she saw him open his eyes, relief flooded her features. You reckless fool, she whispered. You could have died. But I did not, said weakly. Is the ship safe? Yes, thanks to you. She took his hand gently. Her crystalline skin felt cool against his. The doctor says you will recover. You absorbed radiation, but not enough to cause permanent damage. You were right. Humans are more resistant than we are. Good, said, then he smiled. Does this mean I am useful? Skin shifted to that warm gold color. You are more than useful, she squeezed his hand. You are brave, and I was wrong to think of you as just a contract. You are. I am what? Asked softly. She looked away as if afraid to say it, but then she met his eyes. You are someone I do not want to lose. His heart beat faster. I do not want to lose you either. They sat in silence, hands joined, understanding something had shifted between them. This was no longer just a contract marriage. Somewhere along the way, they had become something real. The message came during breakfast. Sat in the ship's common area, eating with some of the engineering crew. They had accepted him now, teaching him card games and sharing stories. He was laughing at something Minu said when the alarm sounded. All crew members stood immediately. Their skin turned dark red, the color of battle readiness. Followed them to their stations, his heart racing. His voice came over the ship's communication system. All senior staff to the command deck. We have received priority intelligence from Fleet Command. Was not senior staff, but he had learned where he was allowed to go. He made his way to the command deck, standing at the back where he would not be in the way. Saw him enter but said nothing, focused on the holographic display in the center of the room. An admiral appeared in the hologram, his skin a severe dark blue. Commander, intelligence has confirmed our worst fears. The Dominion is moving forces toward the frontier. We have detected at least 15 battle groups assembling in the outer reach. Felt cold. He had heard of everyone in human space had. They were a violent species who believed might made right. They raided weaker civilizations for resources and slaves. They had hit several human colonies already, taking thousands of people. What is their target? Asked. Unknown. but their trajectory suggests they are moving toward the human territories. The small colonies along the border are most vulnerable. Stomach dropped. His sister lived on one of those colonies. New Sol, a settlement of 5,000 humans trying to build a new life on a frontier world. They had mining operations and farms, but almost no military defense. "What are our orders?" asked. "Monitor the situation. Do not engage unless directly threatened. The human territories are not under protection. We cannot risk open war with the over them." Skin flickered with barely controlled anger. "So we do nothing while they attack defenseless civilians. We do not have proof they will attack, and even if they do, it is not our concern. The humans are not part of our alliance. They must defend themselves." The hologram disappeared. The command deck was silent, felt sick. He thought of just 19 years old living on a farm with her boyfriend. They had moved to New Sol for a fresh start, dreaming of a peaceful life. Dismissed her staff. As they filed out, she noticed still standing there. "You should not be on the command deck during briefings," she said, but her voice was gentle. "My sister is on one of those colonies," said quietly. "New Sol, if the attack." His expression softened. "I am sorry, I know how you feel, but my orders are clear." "Can we at least warn them, send a message?" "Fleet Command has already sent warnings to all human colonies in the region, but warnings do not stop the—" She looked frustrated. "I wish I could do more." Over the next 3 days, barely slept. He tried to send messages to, but communication was difficult. The colony's long-range transmitter was old and unreliable. He got one message through, telling her to prepare for evacuation. Her response was brief. "We have nowhere to go. We will defend what we built." Felt helpless. He threw himself into work, trying to distract himself. But every moment, he thought about his sister facing down warships with nothing but mining equipment and determination. On the 4th day, everything changed. The Infinite Dawn picked up a distress signal. It was faint, breaking up with static but unmistakable, was on the bridge when it came through. He recognized the voice immediately. "This is New Sol under attack. Forces, please, anyone." His voice, terrified and desperate. Ran to the communication station. "Play it again." The officer did. This time they could hear more, explosions in the background, screaming, his voice. "They are burning everything. We cannot. They are too strong. Please God, someone help us." Then static. Turn 2. She stood rigid, her skin a conflicted mix of red and gray. Around them the crew worked silently, but he could feel their tension. "We have to go," said. "Please, we are close enough. We can reach them in 6 hours." "You know I cannot," said, but her voice shook. "My orders." "Your orders are to let innocent people die." Knew he was shouting, but he did not care. "That is my sister. That is 5,000 humans being slaughtered because they are too weak to matter." "I know," skin flashed bright red. "Do you think I want this? But if I disobey a direct order, I will be court-martialed. My crew will suffer, the ship. What good is your ship if you only use it to follow orders while people die?" Felt tears on his face. "You told me culture values honor. Where is the honor in abandoning the defenseless?" The bridge was completely silent now. Every crew member watched their commander and the human. Stood still for a long moment. Her skin shifted through colors rapidly, red, gray, blue, purple, gold. Could see the war inside her. Duty versus conscience, career versus morality. Then her skin settled on a deep, determined red. "Set course for New Sol," she said. "Maximum speed." The navigation officer hesitated. "Commander, the orders." "I am aware of the orders. I am choosing to disobey them." His voice was steel. "If the admirals want to court-martial me, they can do it after we save those people. Now move." The crew jumped into action. The ship turned, engines roaring to full power. Felt the deck vibrate beneath him. Turned to him. "I am risking everything for this. My rank, my ship, possibly my life. If we survive, I will face severe consequences. I know, said, thank you. Do not thank me yet, we are one ship. The distress signal mentioned forces plural, we will be outnumbered. She moved to the tactical display. But we have surprise and skill, and we have you. Me. You see things we do not. I need you here helping plan this fight. She gestured to a station. Work with the tactical officer, find us an advantage. Move to the station, his mind racing. He studied the data they had on ships and weapons. He pulled up information about New Sol's geography and defenses. His engineering knowledge mixed with desperation, looking for anything they could use. The colony is in a valley, he said, surrounded by mountains. If the landed forces there, their ships would have limited maneuvering room. Good, what else? New Sol has mining explosives. If we can get a message to the survivors, they could set traps. They will not expect organized resistance from humans. Nodded, contact the colony, tell them to prepare. The communications officer shook his head. The distress signal was their last transmission. The tower must be destroyed. Then we go in blind, said. Prepare all weapons, power shields to maximum. When we arrive, we hit them hard and fast. Show them that attacking under my protection has consequences. Your protection? The tactical officer asked. Yes, these humans are now under protection. Mine specifically. Skin burned bright red, and I protect what is mine. The next 6 hours were the longest of life. The crew prepared for battle with grim efficiency. Weapons were charged, shields tested, combat teams suited up, worked with the tactical staff, planning attack patterns and contingencies. Called him to her ready room an hour before arrival. When he entered, she was standing by the viewport, looking at the stars. This is likely a suicide mission, she said without turning around. One ship against a battle group, the odds are not good. I know, said. If we fail, we die. If we succeed, I will be punished, probably stripped of rank, imprisoned maybe. She finally looked at him. I need you to understand what I am giving up. Moved closer. Why are you doing it then? Skin shifted to that warm gold color. Because you made me remember something I had forgotten. That honor is not about following orders. It is about doing what is right, even when it costs you everything. She touched his face gently. And because I care about you, I cannot sit by while your family suffers. Not anymore. I care about you too, said. When this is over, whatever happens, I am with you. She smiled, rare and beautiful. Then let us go save your sister. They returned to the bridge together. The ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel. Ahead of them, New Sol appeared on the... And surrounding the planet, 3 massive warships waited like predators. Settled into her command chair. Battle stations. Transmit challenge to the commander. The communication channel opened. A harsh, growling voice answered. This is battle, Commander. You fly colors. Why do you interfere? This colony is under my protection, said clearly. Withdraw your forces immediately or face the consequences. Laughed a terrible sound. 1 ship against 3, and for these pathetic humans, you must be mad. Smile was cold. You are about to find out. Last chance. Leave or I will remove you. Then come and die. The channel closed, looked at her crew. Show them what happens when they underestimate us. Attack. The Infinite Dawn surged forward, weapons blazing. The battle for New Sol had begun. The first ship fired before the Infinite Dawn reached weapon range. Massive red bolts of plasma tore through space. Ship rolled sideways, dodging with grace that seemed impossible for something so large. The bolts passed harmlessly by. Return fire, commanded. Target their weapon systems. The Infinite Dawn's cannon spoke. Blue energy beams lanced out, striking the lead ship. Shields flared and held, but saw the readings spike on his tactical display. They had not expected such precise targeting. Their shields are military grade, the tactical officer reported, but concentrated fire can break them. Then concentrate fire, said. She leaned forward in her chair, skin burning bright combat red. Helm, bring us around. Attack pattern Delta 7. The ship moved like a dancer through space. The second and third vessels opened fire now, trying to trap the Infinite Dawn in a crossfire, but anticipated every move, keeping them at angles where they could not bring all weapons to bear. Commander, they are trying to box us in, you warned from engineering. I know, what do you see? Studied the tactical display, his mind racing. The ships moved in a standard attack formation, predictable, strong, but inflexible. They fight by the book, he said. They expect us to retreat or circle. What if we charge directly at the center ship instead? That is suicide, the tactical officer said. No, his eyes gleamed. That is brilliant, they would never expect it. Helm hard burned toward the center vessel, full speed. The Infinite Dawn accelerated straight at the flagship. Ship scrambled to adjust, but they were too close now. Ship fired everything, cannons, missiles, at point-blank range. The shields collapsed. Explosions rippled across their hull. The ship listed to one side, venting atmosphere. Break off and target the second ship, ordered. But they were not finished. The damaged flagship fired wildly, more in rage than strategy. One shot hit the Infinite Dawn's port shield. Alarms blared. Shield down to 40%, someone called out. Reroute power from non-essential systems, Minyu said. I can give you 20% more. Do it, said. On the planet below, knew his sister was fighting too. They had landed ground forces before the Infinite Dawn arrived. He wished he could see what was happening down there, help somehow. Commander, the communications officer said suddenly, I am picking up transmissions from the surface. Audio only, very weak. Put it through, said. Static filled the bridge, then a voice. Not but a man. The Eastern Quarter. They keep coming. Need more ammunition. Another voice, a woman. Medical station is overwhelmed. We have 50 wounded, maybe more. Then's voice, clear and strong despite the fear. North Gate is rigged with mining charges. When they push through, we blow it. Everyone ready. Chorus of affirmations. Then explosions even through the static, cheering. Felt pride and terror mix in his chest. His sister was alive, fighting, surviving. The humans resist, the tactical officer said with surprise in his voice. They are using guerrilla tactics. Because they have no choice, said. They fight or die. Skin flickered with determination. Then we make sure their fight matters, all power to forward weapons. I want that second ship crippled. The battle turned into a deadly dance. The Infinite Dawn darted between the two remaining ships, firing constantly, never staying still long enough for them to land a solid hit. Commanded with precision that awed her crew. Every order was perfect, every maneuver calculated. But they were taking damage. The third ship landed a missile strike that tore through the lower decks. 20 crew members died in an instant. Felt the ship shudder and heard skin shift to grieving gray for just a moment before hardening back to red. They will pay for that, she said quietly. Boarding teams prepare for assault. Boarding asked, we are going to board them. The second ship's weapons are damaged. Their shields are down. If we can take their bridge, we can turn their guns on the third ship. Stood. I will lead the assault myself. Commander, that is too dangerous, Minyu protested. I am a warrior before I am a commander. My people need to see me fight, she looked at. You have command of the ship. Follow the attack plan we discussed. Wait started but was already moving. Trust me, she said, and trust yourself, you can do this. Then she was gone, rushing to the hangar bay with her boarding team. Stood frozen for a moment, suddenly in charge of a warship in the middle of battle. The crew looked at him, waiting. He took a breath. Continue evasive maneuvers. Keep the third ship occupied. When Commander takes the second ship, be ready to coordinate fire." "Yes, sir," they responded. On the tactical display, watched the boarding pod launch from the Infinite Dawn. It shot across space like a bullet, slamming into the ship's hull. Magnetic clamps locked it in place. Cutting torches burned through the armor. Then and her team were inside. Wished he could see what was happening in there, but he had a battle to manage. The third ship was trying to reach the boarding pod to support their allies. He could not let them. "Helm, put us between them and the pod. Make us the target." The Infinite Dawn moved to block. The ship fired everything at them. Shields dropped to 20%, then 10. One more good hit would breach the hull. "Sir, we need to move," the tactical officer urged. "Not yet, Commander needs more time." Grip the console. "Hold position, return fire on my mark." Inside the ship was a force of nature. Her combat suit enhanced her already formidable strength. She moved through corridors like a storm, her energy blade cutting through soldiers. They wore heavy armor and carried powerful weapons, but they were slow. Clumsy. Was neither. She dodged their shots, moved inside their guard, struck with lethal precision. Her team followed, disciplined and efficient. They fought deck by deck, pushing toward the bridge. A commander twice her size blocked the corridor. He roared a challenge, accepted without words. They clashed in hand-to-hand combat. His strength was enormous, but she was faster, smarter. She found weak points in his armor, struck them repeatedly. He fell. The bridge door stood before them, planted breaching charges. "On my mark, now." The door exploded inward, rushed through, her team covering her. The bridge crew scrambled for weapons, but it was too late. In 30 seconds they were all down. Move to the command console. "This is Commander to Infinite Dawn. Second ship secured. Accessing their weapons now." On the Infinite Dawn's bridge, nearly collapsed with relief. "Target locked. Fire when ready, Commander." The second ship turned its guns on the third. Caught between two opponents, the third ship tried to flee, but was merciless. She fired the captured ship's main cannon at point-blank range. The third ship exploded in a bloom of fire and debris. Only the damaged flagship remained. His voice crackled over the communication channel. You cannot. This is impossible." "Nothing is impossible," responded. "Surrender or die." A pause, then, the "do not surrender." "Then die." But before could fire, the flagship's engines flared. It turned and ran, jumping to faster-than-light travel despite its damage, fleeing. Silence filled both bridges. "Commander," said softly, "they are retreating." "Let them go," said. "Let them tell their people what happens when they attack under my protection." On the planet's surface, the remaining ground forces saw their ships destroyed or fleeing. Morale shattered. They began to retreat as well, running for their landing craft. The colonists pursued them, firing mining equipment and improvised weapons. Led a group that cut off their escape route, forcing a surrender. By the time the sun set on New Sol, the battle was over. Coordinated rescue and relief efforts from the Infinite Dawn. Medical teams shuttled down to treat the wounded. Engineering crews helped repair damaged structures. The colony had taken casualties, 63 dead, over 100 wounded, but they had survived. Returned to the ship, exhausted but triumphant. Her combat suit was scorched and dented. Blood spattered her armor, none of it hers. She looked like a legend come to life. "Status?" she asked as she entered the bridge. "All forces destroyed or retreating. The colony is secure," smiled at her. "You did it." "We did it," she corrected. "Your strategy gave us the edge. Your sister's resistance saved lives. This was a victory for all of us." The crew cheered. For a moment they celebrated, but saw the weight settling back onto his shoulders. She had won the battle, but she had also disobeyed direct orders. There would be consequences. "Commander," the communications officer said hesitantly, "Fleet Command is hailing us. Admiral himself. The celebration died, straightened, put him through. The hologram appeared. Admiral looked furious, his skin dark with rage. But before he could speak, another signal interrupted. "Admiral, we are receiving hundreds of transmissions," the officer said. "From new Sol colonists. They want to speak." Paused, "Show me." The split into dozens of small windows. Human faces filled them. Men, women, children, wounded survivors, grateful families. And in the center stood with other colony leaders. "We do not know customs," said, her voice strong. "But in human culture, when someone saves your life, you owe them everything. Commander risked everything to save us when no one else would. We will testify to that. We will tell everyone what she did here today." Other voices joined hers, a chorus of gratitude and determination. Admiral watched in silence. Finally, he spoke. "Commander, you directly disobeyed orders. That cannot be ignored." "I understand, sir," said. "However," continued, "you also prevented a massacre and demonstrated the honor of the Empire. You remind us why we fight." His expression softened slightly. "Return to base. There will be an inquiry, but I suspect the outcome will not be as severe as you fear." The transmission ended, stood still, processing. Then she turned to, and her skin shifted to brilliant gold. "We survived," she said softly. "We did more than survive," replied. "We changed things." And they had. The journey back to Prime took 8 days. 8 days of repairs, rest, and waiting. The crew worked quietly, aware that their commander faced an uncertain future. Spent most of his time helping in engineering or sitting within the observation deck. They did not talk much. Words seemed inadequate for what they had been through together, but their silence was comfortable, filled with understanding. On the 5th day, contacted the ship. Spoke with her in a private communication room, seeing her face clearly for the first time since the rescue. "You look terrible," she said with a weak smile. She had bandages on her arms and a healing cut across her forehead. "You should see the other guys," replied. "Are you okay, really okay?" "I am alive. That is more than 63 of us can say." Her smile faded. "It was hell. They came at us like we were nothing, just resources to take. If your ship had not arrived..." She could not finish. "But we did, and you fought. I heard you on the communications. You were so brave." "I was terrified," admitted. "But someone had to organize the defense. Was amazing too. He rigged half the explosive traps." She paused. "The whole colony wants to thank Commander. She is a hero here. We are already building a monument." "She will be embarrassed by that," said, smiling. "Too bad, she earned it." Leaned closer to the screen. "Brother, I see how you look when you talk about her. This is more than just a contract, is it not?" Felt his face warm. Complicated, but yes, she is important to me." "Good, she saved my life. That makes her family." The expression turned serious. "They are saying she might be punished for helping us. That is not right." "I know, but military law is strict. She broke direct orders." "Then we will fight for her, all of us, every human she saved." And they did. Over the next days, messages flooded Fleet Command. Testimonials from new Sol colonists, statements from human ambassadors, media coverage from Earth and the human colonies. The story spread, a commander who chose honor over orders, who protected the weak against the strong. Public opinion across the galaxy shifted. What started as a court-martial case became something bigger, a symbol. When the Infinite Dawn docked at Prime, thousands waited at the station. News crews from a dozen species recorded the ship's arrival, stood beside as they walked down the ramp, and he saw her surprise at the crowd. They cheered, citizens, their skin flashing colors of approval and pride, and scattered among them humans. Some were from New Sol, having traveled here to show support. Others were from Earth delegations or nearby colonies. "They came for you," said. "They came for all of us," replied, but he saw the gold flickering through her skin. The hearing was held the next day in the High Command Chamber. It was a massive room with seats for hundreds of observers. Every seat was filled. Sat in the gallery with, who had insisted on attending despite her injuries. The judges were 5 admirals including. They sat at a raised platform looking down at who stood alone in the center of the room. She wore her dress uniform, medals polished, posture perfect. Admiral, the senior judge, spoke first. Commander, you are charged with insubordination, unauthorized engagement with hostile forces, and reckless endangerment of your ship and crew. How do you plead? Guilty on all counts, said clearly. I knowingly disobeyed orders. I accept responsibility for my actions. Murmurs filled the chamber, gripped the armrest of his seat. You understand that these charges carry severe penalties. Possible imprisonment, definitely discharge from military service. I understand. Admiral looked at her with an unreadable expression. Why did you do it? You had a promising career. You could have been promoted to fleet commander within 5 years. Why throw that away? Stood silent for a moment. Then she spoke, her voice carrying through the chamber. Because I remembered what it means to be. Our culture is built on honor, strength, and protection of those who cannot protect themselves. When I joined the military, I swore an oath to embody those values. She gestured toward the gallery, and when those colonists called for help, they were defenseless. They were slaughtering them. If I had followed my orders, I would have been complicit in a massacre. That is not strength. That is cowardice. You risked your ship, Admiral began. My crew volunteered to follow me, interrupted. I gave them the choice. Every single one agreed that we should help. They knew the risks. They chose honor over safety. And what about the political consequences? You nearly started a war. No, said firmly. They started a war when they attacked a civilian population. I simply finished it. And now they know that there are consequences for such actions. That is not a political problem. That is a solution. The chamber erupted in applause. Half the audience stood, cheering. The admirals called for order, but the noise continued for several minutes. When silence finally returned, Admiral leaned forward. Commander, before we deliver our judgment, there are others who wish to speak. We will hear them. One by one, witnesses. Crew spoke of her leadership and courage. New Soul colonists described the battle and their gratitude. Human ambassadors explained how her actions had changed perceptions of the Empire across human space. Then was called to testify. He walked down to the floor on shaking legs. He had never spoken in front of so many people before, but when he looked at, standing there proud and strong, he found his courage. I was nothing when Commander bought me, he said, property on an auction block, but she treated me with respect from the first day. She saw value in me when others saw only a weak human. He turned to address the admirals directly. She taught me that strength is not just about power or weapons. It is about choices. She chose to save my sister and 5,000 others. She chose honor. That is real strength. He looked back and I choose her, not because I am her legal spouse, but because she is the best person I know. If you punish her for doing what is right, you punish everything the Empire claims to stand for. Returned to his seat, heart pounding, squeezed his hand. The admirals deliberated for 2 hours. The audience waited in tense silence, could not read their expressions, could not guess what decision they would make. Finally, Admiral stood. We have reached our judgment. Commander, approach. Walked forward. Her skin was steady, controlled, showing no fear. This case has forced us to examine our values and priorities, Admiral said. You broke regulations, yes, but you embodied the spirit of what those regulations were meant to protect. You demonstrated that sometimes the letter of the law and the spirit of the law are not the same. She paused. Therefore, while we cannot ignore your insubordination, we recognize the circumstances and the outcome. You are hereby found guilty, but with no penalty beyond formal reprimand. Furthermore, you are promoted to senior commander, effective immediately." Shock rippled through his composed exterior. Her skin flickered in disbelief. "Additionally," Admiral added, standing as well, "your actions have inspired a policy change. The Empire will formally extend protection to human colonies in the border regions. We are opening negotiations with Earth for a mutual defense treaty." The chamber exploded in celebration. Humans and alike cheered, felt tears on his face, relief and joy overwhelming him. Turned to find him in the crowd. Their eyes met across the distance and saw her skin shift to that warm, brilliant gold. Later that evening, after the formal reception and countless congratulations, and stood alone in a private garden on Prime. The sun was setting, casting purple and orange light across the alien plants. "I have been thinking," said. "Our contract marriage fulfilled its legal purpose. You do not have to stay with me anymore. You could return to Earth to your old life, or start a new one. You are free." Looked at her. "Do you want me to leave?" "No," she admitted. "But I want you to choose, not because you are legally bound, but because you want to." "I already chose," said. "Back when you decided to save my sister, I saw who you really are, not just a commander, but someone who does what is right even when it costs everything." He took her hand. "I want to stay. I want to be your partner, really your partner." Skin glowed gold. "Then we should make it official, the traditional way." "What does that mean?" "A bonding ceremony, not a contract but a true joining," she smiled. "It involves declaring our intentions before witnesses, sharing blood, and promising to stand together against anything the universe throws at us." "That sounds intense," said. "It is. Are you ready for that?" Thought about everything they had been through. The auction, the journey, the battle, the trial. They had faced it all together. "Yes," he said, "I am ready." The ceremony was held 3 days later. Attended, along with Minu and the crew of the Infinite Dawn. Representatives from dozens of species came, curious to see a human bonding. It was beautiful and strange. There were traditional chants in ancient language, and cut their palms and pressed them together, mingling their blood. They spoke vows of loyalty, partnership, and love. When it was done, skin blazed gold, brighter than had ever seen. He felt different too, complete somehow, like he had found something he did not know he was missing. At the reception afterward pulled him aside. "So you are really staying out here, in space?" "Yes, the Infinite Dawn is my home now." "And her, she is your home too?" Smiled, "Yes." Hugged him tightly. "Then I am happy for you, you deserve this." She pulled back, wiping her eyes. "Write to me, visit when you can, and stay safe." "I will, you too. Rebuild New Soul into something amazing." "We will, already started," she grinned. "We are naming the new community center after Commander, the Memorial Hall." "She will hate that," laughed. "I know." In the weeks that followed, life settled into a new normal. The Infinite Dawn continued its patrols, but now with an expanded mission. They protected human colonies, responded to their distress calls, and served as a symbol of human cooperation. Became the official strategic advisor, his title recognized across the fleet. Other ships requested his consultations. His ideas on tactics and problem-solving spread throughout the military. More importantly, other humans joined the crew. Volunteers from colonies who wanted to serve. Engineers, medics, communications specialists. The Infinite Dawn became the first mixed-species crew in history. Stories about Commander spread across the galaxy. The warrior who fell for a human, the commander who orders to save the weak. Other species saw humans differently now, not as primitives or prey, but as partners worth protecting, worth dying for. Trade agreements followed, cultural exchanges, scientific collaborations, humanity's place among the stars, built on the foundation of one commander's courage and one engineer's resilience. 6 months after the Battle of New Seoul, stood in the observation deck with. They watched the stars drift past, as they had so many times before, but everything was different now. "Do you ever regret buying me?" asked. Considered the question. "I regret that you were on that auction block in the first place. I regret the circumstances that brought us together." She took his hand. "But I do not regret what we became. You challenged me, changed me, made me better." "You saved me," said. "Not just at the auction. You saved me from believing I was worthless. You showed me I had value, that my ideas mattered." "We saved each other," corrected. "That is what partners do." They stood in comfortable silence, watching the universe scroll past. Somewhere out there, other humans looked up at the stars and wondered if they had a place among them. Knew the answer now. They did, not because they were the strongest or most advanced, but because they had courage, creativity, and the ability to form bonds that transcended species and culture. He had been sold as property. He became a strategist, a husband, a symbol of hope. She had been a warrior bound by rules. She became a legend, a protector, a bridge between worlds. Together, they had changed the galaxy. "Ready for the next mission?" asked. "Smiled with you, always." The infinite dawn jumped to hyperspace, carrying them toward whatever challenges awaited. But they would face those challenges together, human and partners in every sense. And somewhere in the vastness of space, that was enough. That was everything.